I went from tending bar to owning and operating a multi-million-dollar cocktail ice business. I recognized early on that it was perhaps the most important and overlooked ingredient in the modern cocktail. My name is Richard Boccato. I am the founder of Hundredweight Ice in Queens, New York City. Our revenue in 2024 was $2.5 million. We are set on course to significantly surpass that number in 2025. You make a lot more money hustling frozen water than you do selling fancy cocktails. I'll tell you that. So I was working as a bartender at 2 bars in New York City. The owner asked me if I wanted to go into business with him, and that's what led us to open Dutch Kills in 2009. When the day came, we opened the chest freezer, and what was revealed to us was a rusty brown block of cloudy ice. So we decided to source crystal clear blocks of ice that we got from a local ice sculptor. People were excited about the opulence and beauty and clarity. At times, people were unable to determine that there was actually ice in their glass. So we bought a machine and began freezing our own crystal clear blocks. In the early days, it was chainsaws and clothing irons because that's how we could crease the cubes perfectly. If I had walked into that room, I would say these people have no chance of survival, but their cocktails are really good. Just about every night during service, somebody would ask me if we would consider selling this ice to them, but we knew that we did not have the infrastructure, and yet we decided to do it anyway. We start roughly between 5 and 6 in the morning. You have to stand in the cold for the majority of your day, and you're not only expected to engage in heavy lifting and heavy machine operation, but you also have to be cognizant and aware of everything that's happening all around you. So this is the main shop floor where we have all of our block makers that produce our raw product, which is our 300-pound blocks of crystal clear ice. On average, you're looking at between $5,000 and $7,000 per machine. So this is the first step of the process, filling up the machine with New York City's finest tap water. And then we filter significantly. Everybody knows we make the best bagels and the best ice in New York City because of the water. So the pumps circulate, which prevents oxygen bubbles or any impurities to form within the block, which lends the final product a crystal clear aspect. One way to tell if they're ready is by doing that. As you can see, the clarity of the ice is indisputable. You're gonna have residual water at the end of the process, so we vacuum out what's left, and then we can hoist the final product. We harvest 3,120,000 pounds of ice each year. The harvesting process is probably the most precarious within the entire production because when the blocks come out of the machines, they weigh about 300 pounds. And then from there, that block goes into our storage freezer where we let it temper and we wait a little while before we start cutting the raw product. The first step is a modified chainsaw. So it's very similar to what mill workers will use, people who are chopping down trees. That's what we use. So on average, we're cutting 15,000 2-inch cubes per day. That's just 2-inch cubes. Now we have completely different offerings, completely different products that we're also cutting by the tens of thousands. We are very careful. We all have 10 fingers. Look around. So just an example of some of the things that we use. Our horizontal ice mill, we use that to make our slabs. So a machine like this that will run on the high end, $5,000, we use it to just get very even cuts that we then transfer to the bandsaws that you would use for meat processing, essentially, although it has never been used for that purpose, so it is pristine and free of DNA. The cost of the average bandsaw that we use can range anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000. So this machine is a CNC router. It stands for Computer Numerical Control. This is the machine that we use for custom engraved ice. And it operates with a very high-speed router that moves at very high RPMs to engrave logos we program or design into the software for our clients. The machine itself, the frame, the electronics, you can get upwards of $50,000 to $75,000. Logo cubes are the most expensive. The average cost, let's say $2 or $3 per cube, but it can be way more than that. One of our most expensive orders to date was an order for 50 packs of logo cubes for $4,500. Another very expensive piece of ice that we make are the spheres with the flowers. That can be $5 to $6 per sphere. There were many people who initially doubted the viability of this business. But we are currently delivering ice to between 10 and 20 Michelin-starred restaurants, and our clients in New York City number in the high triple digits. Now it's time to deliver some ice. We're going to a place called the Rosevale Cocktail Room, which is a new client and also a new bar. The beverage director is Willie Shine, who is a very good friend of mine from back in the day. He has a big beard, but an even bigger heart. I heard you guys make really good cocktails here. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
What's up? Good to see you.
You too.
That's a lot of ice. Yes.
Behold.
Look at that. Let's see. How long have I known you, man? It's been a minute. I mean, you know, the one thing I could say about Richie, whenever he commits to something, it's literally all in.
We started this all those years ago by bartenders for bartenders, so that our people could make the best possible cocktail. And now, all over the world, it's almost obligatory to go into a bar and see a big ice cube, which is beautiful because it means that all the things that we did all those years ago changed the way people are drinking now, 20 years later.
And listen, I travel a lot. When people are using big cubes, I'm like, you know where this all started? It's in New York City with my man, Richie Boccato.
We had less than 10 clients when we first started this business. We told no one.
You told no one?
Told no one.
So what happened?
The word got around. Word of mouth, completely word of mouth. This business was built upon our reputation as bartenders and nothing else. We've never paid a dime for advertising. We have never sought out any paid publicity. Everything that has ever sustained the success of this business has been done upon the merits of the product itself. So that's how we built our business. We've shown loyalty to our clients by never raising our prices a penny since 2017. More so than client retention, I think employee retention is one of the most important things that we can boast about this business. So our first full-time employee was hired in 2012, and his name is Pedro. He's still with us today, and his sons are with us today. And I could have no greater pride as a businessman knowing that fact.
I work here like 12 years with him. He take care about you. If you need any help or any problem, he can help you. He's very nice person, the best.
I try to lead by example and respect the people that have shown loyalty to the business, because it's not how many ice cubes you sell every year. It's the people that come here every day and bring their talent and their love and their elbow grease, because without that, we don't succeed as a business. You want me to cut this much? Okay. Yeah. Never at any point when I was a bartender would I ever have imagined that I would be a business owner one day. The major operating costs for this business are labor, rent, utilities, insurance, and the expenses that are associated with the deliveries. Utilities, water, power are between 3 and 4% of our operating expenses. And then our freezer vans that we use to deliver ice throughout New York City cost on average between $80,000 and $90,000. Aside from the initial cost of the vehicle, they have to be outfitted to carry the freezer equipment and also be insulated, have adjustments to the motor and to the suspension in order to make it sustainable to deliver ice all day. Over the past 12 years, we've seen a steady revenue growth of between 37 and 38% each year. And average monthly revenue for the first 9 months of 2025 has been $225,000 a month. So our brand recognition is undeniable at this point, given all that we've done for the game. We are the premier cocktail ice company on the planet. So if I were to put a number on the valuation of the business that we have built, that number would be easily between $15 and $20 million. Since we started this business, in this country alone, dozens of companies like ours have opened, essentially imitating our business model. If they don't operate in my neighborhood and they're not trying to eat my lunch, then more power to them. Intellectual property is it's tenuous. You can't really patent an ice cube. You can't trademark using a bandsaw to cut an ice cube. It's just not possible, and that's good because that would be very un-American. At a certain point, it dawned on us that we're not bartenders anymore, we're icemen now. And that's a difficult transition to accept, but also was very empowering because that meant that we had succeeded. Every time I get behind the bar today, I still feel the same inclinations and exhilaration and obligation to honor my training and my pedigree every time I shake or stir a cocktail. Being in New York City, where I've lived my entire life, and making people happy with their drinks that they're enjoying at their favorite bars and restaurants, I could only imagine doing that somewhere else where that might be appreciated, but I think that in a city of 8.2 million people that I've always called home, this is more than enough. Josh, I'm in the middle of this video shoot and I'm about to use this beautiful chisel that you made me to cut some ice for Business Insider.
Dude, enjoy. I've been wanting to make you that for ever.
It is beautiful and you're gonna see it all over the interwebs very soon, I promise.